Hi and welcome to the channel Without a Wire, where we explore everything home automation. In today's video, we'll look at how to switch out your SD card for an SSD on your Raspberry Pi. I have a Raspberry Pi running Home Assistant and I've gone through quite a few SD cards already. So I thought, let me switch out to a SD card or a SSD drive, which is a bit more robust because of the logs being written to and from the drive. So it will last longer and it will improve the speed of my Raspberry Pi and Home Assistant as well. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get the Raspberry Pi out of its case, whatever case you might use. I have this little one with a fan inside, so it can actually run a little bit cooler than normal. And it also helps that the Raspberry Pi doesn't overheat. Now, the second problem is, if you have a Raspberry Pi and you still keep it in this case, swapping out the hard drive, the connection might be a problem. So you might go with an external case and you might just plug it in and run it like that, but it still looks ugly. And if you have some space where you can stow it away where nobody can see it, it will probably be fine. But in my case, it's quite visible and I like my stuff to be neat. The other option you can choose is a docking station. So you take your drive and you just put it into the docking station and plug the other end into the Raspberry Pi. But still, you have two components and your drive is exposed. And if you are not happy with this way of connecting the hard drive, then this is also not going to work for you. Also not for me, given my circumstances. The other option you might try is this SATA connector. Just plug it into the drive and the other end goes into the Raspberry Pi. But still, it doesn't look neat unless you can stow it away. So I've been doing some research online and I actually found quite a neat box that can contain both your Raspberry Pi and the drive and make it look nice. It's called the Nespi4. So it's compatible with the Raspberry Pi 4. And let's have a look. Let's then unpack it and see what it's all about, what it looks like, how to install your drives, all that kind of stuff. So other items inside the box is a nice velvety carry case. I don't know who would use that. And you also have your cooling fan and some heat sinks that you can put onto your Pi itself if you don't already have them. Further in the box, it says Nespi4 SSD case. These I got from Amazon. All the links of the stuff that I talked about in the video will be in the video description, so you are welcome to go and have a look there and explore for yourself. These come in quite a few variations. You get this one with only the case, you get one with the retro controls, you get one without the hard drive slot. So yeah, you can go online on Amazon and you can actually find the one that most suits your needs. So yeah, let's open this box and see. There's not a lot on the box, it just gives you some schematics. As to the ports, it's got some micro HDMI ports, audio port, DC in port, the LAN port, and 2 USB ports. It's quite neatly packed. There's a little installation guide showing you where the cables go and actually which USB slots to use when you install the Pi into the box. Because when you install the Pi into the box, you would actually lose functionality of one of the USB ports because of the layout of the motherboard inside. Take it out of its sleeve. So this is what the box looks like, and by my hands you can see more or less the size, or if I compare it to a standard SSD or even the Raspberry Pi, you can see it's nice and compact. At the back you see there's the slots for your HDMI port, your audio, power slot and your network card. There's a little slot for your SD card if you still decide to use SD, and in the front you have 2 USB ports. And if you open up the lid there, you have a little cartridge that looks almost like a retro gaming cartridge, and if you open this up you can actually fit the SSD card inside. So it fits in nicely into this box, and there's some screws here somewhere just to secure the lid, and it will slide nicely back into this slot and close up, hiding the hard drive. Looking inside, you'll see there's your screwdriver with a few screws, the screws that you would need to install your Raspberry Pi. A warning label, and there you can see there's the USB cable that will connect to your hard drive, right? And there you have your 2 USB cables connecting to the front USB slots, power supply cable, and your network cable connecting to your network port. So let's get this Raspberry Pi out of this case and into this case and see how it works. So before we get started and install the SSD and the Raspberry Pi into this case, there's a couple of things that you need to do in preparation. For instance, the SD card, some of them come pre-formatted. The one that I bought didn't come pre-formatted, so I had to format it. Used the SATA connector, just hooked it up to my laptop and just formatted it in NTFS format. And from there I could actually start flashing it for Home Assistant. Now Home Assistant, if you need to flash it from scratch, all the links are in the video description, so you can follow the links and instructions there. Also posted the link to the Home Assistant site, which gives you step-by-step guides as to how to set up Home Assistant. So I went on there, I got the URL from the site. So I had to download the app Bellina Etcher. I got the URL with the Home Assistant software on it from the Home Assistant site, and I just flashed it to this hard drive. Now I have Home Assistant on this hard drive, and I can actually install it to my Raspberry Pi, or I can connect this drive to my Raspberry Pi. The second step is to actually take the SD card while it's still online and make a backup. Once you've made a backup of your current or existing Home Assistant instance, and you've installed Home Assistant on the SD drive or SSD drive, and you can plug the drive into the Raspberry Pi, boot it up. It will come up with a clean installation of Home Assistant, which you can put in your username and password. Once you've signed into Home Assistant, you can go into settings and backup, and from there you can actually import the backup file that you've made of your current instance of Home Assistant. Once you've uploaded the backup, you can click on it, and in the pop-up screen that appears, you can click on Restore. Once you've clicked on Restore, it will basically restore everything you have from your current instance of Home Assistant. Your profile, your configs, your YAML files, your dashboards, everything. So you just give it a moment for it to run the backup and reboot, and it will boot back up with your current dashboards and your current integrations, hacks, everything that you've had before. And you are back up and running on Home Assistant. So now that the hard drive is installed, the Raspberry Pi is installed inside, it's ready for boot up. So we're going to connect it up, start it up, and see how it works, or if it works. One of the problems I'm going to have with where I'm going to place this box is the Zigbee dongle that I bought for my Home Assistant. There's only 2 USB ports in the front, which means that I'm going to have quite a problem when I put this in a showcase somewhere, because this Zigbee dongle sticks out quite far. So I'm going to have to find a place to hide it and put it neatly out of sight, but still have it functional. So what I did is I actually bought a USB male to female cable. There I would put one end into the port on the front, have the cable run through the back where I can hide it out somewhere, and plug the Zigbee dongle in on the other end, so that it's out of sight, but I still have functionality of the Zigbee dongle. So let me hook it up, see how it works, and then I'll also show you how it displays along with my other Raspberry Pi running my Plex server. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked the video, please give it a like, and also hit subscribe and the notification bell to get notifications of future content. If you would want to contribute to this channel, because this channel is not sponsored, you can do a once-off donation to my PayPal, link in the description, and you can also join the Patreon campaign. In the Patreon campaign, some of these devices that I review would become available there at discounted prices, so you are welcome to join there. I also do consultations, so if you would like me to help you set up your home automation, or you have an idea that you don't know how to solve, my email address would also show up on the screen and also in the video description. So remember, it's wireless with 3 S's, .automation@gmail.com. I'd be happy to field your emails and help you set up your solutions or come out for a consultation in setting up your smart home. If you have a smart home already and you would like to showcase it on this channel, please also contact me on the same email address, and we can make arrangements for me to come see what innovative ideas you've set up in your own house. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.